Hi, Bill Barber from Poliigon here. In this video we're going to be looking at how to properly use the displacement texture in 3ds Max with Octane. Before we get started, let's take a look at the material we'll be using. It's ground asphalt broken 001 and is easily one of my favourite ground textures here at Poliigon. It's brilliant for demonstrating this displacement, which is why I picked it. I've already got the 4K version saved to my hard drive and I'll include a link below the video. As a note, I would recommend getting the 4K version if you're going to be following along, because with displacement you really do want as much detail from the texture as possible. So let's take a look at what it is we're going to be doing. You've probably heard of a bump map before, which is used to artificially give the impression of height in a material. Well, a displacement map is different. It is used to literally deform the object based on the values of the texture, with the black areas being the deep crevices and the white areas being the peaks. It results in a far more realistic material. Okay, so let's look at recreating this effect using Octane. We've got a simple scene here. It's just a plane, a camera and a HDR setup. And to start off with, I'm going to bring in our material. Now I've covered the usage of this material converter in a previous video, which I'll link below this one. So let's head down to ground asphalt broken. You'll notice I've got a little green tick there. That's just because I brought this in when I was playing with the settings and whatnot. But you won't have that. But anyway, let's click on load material, load up our slate editor, make this a little bigger. When Max decides to wake up, there we go. And now I can drag our material onto the slate editor and zoom in a bit. Okay, so with the plane selected, which it is, I'm going to right mouse button on the material and assign it. There we go. Now, by default, Octane actually does a pretty good job of doing the displacement right off the bat. We don't really need to do much at all, as I'll demonstrate in a moment. There we go. So there's our material, and you can see the displacement's working. We've got this nice displaced, bumpy ground material in front of us. What you'll need to do, though, when you're bringing in materials is just make minor adjustments depending on the material itself. So to do that, you'll go to the material, then down to this displacement node here, and the settings for the displacement are here. So we don't have that much we need to adjust. You've got the height, which will dictate the overall amount of displacement. High numbers for more, low numbers for less. And this level of detail, which I'm going to set to 4096, as that's the resolution of the texture that I've downloaded. You also have this mid-level. Now that's for adjusting where the displacement is. For example, if this was a more complicated scene, you might find that the ground has been displaced slightly higher than the surrounding geometry, and it wouldn't look right. It would look like the ground's kind of floating. You could lower the mid-level and bring that down until it all lines up again. And that's literally it. Let's just increase this a little bit, because I did notice the displacement wasn't looking quite right, and we should be good to go. Yeah, so that's looking maybe I've gone a bit over the top actually. It's looking a bit too displaced, but you get the idea. So yeah, with Octane, very easy to set up displacement. So in summary, we've taken a material from Poliigon.com, brought it into Max using our material converter, looked at how we adjust the displacement settings to get the desired result, and then rendered it out with Octane.